This is Final Fantasy XIV Online. We're here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is a game that is pretty future-proofed, as to say, or more or less it just has a bunch of visual options that will allow you to change and enjoy the game in a variety of different ways. And it's a great showcase for the overhead that the PS5 Pro provides for games in general, and just really how this can improve the experience of your, style and combat when you are playing Final Fantasy XIV Online on the PlayStation. Oh, it's dead. Oh, okay, I wanted to help on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Cool. So we've got 3 different graphical options that you can choose between, and then on top of that, a bunch of other different choices as well. There's just that annoying mouse in the middle of my screen. So a while back, we got a 120 hertz update. So it's like everything is kind of like uncapped in this game unless you choose to cap it. So everything can go theoretically up to 120 FPS. So it does feel a lot smoother across the board, depending on the setups you go for. So this is the 1440p mode, which is targeting 60 FPS. But again, everything is uncapped, so everything can go beyond that depending on the performance levels and everything that you're doing. This also has the dynamic resolution scaling applied so that the game can change dynamically based on the setting that is going on. This is sort of your safe visual mode. It gives you a smooth level of performance. It gives you a decent looking visual experience. And it's not a bad way to play the game. But let's dive into the settings and take a look at things. So it's not going to like miraculously completely change the experience kind of playing here on the PS5 Pro, but it does give you a nice overhead for things to make things run better. So you see we have a limiting to frame rate to 30 FPS if you want to do that. We have the standard upscaling kind of thing, which again takes from 1440p, and then we have dynamic resolution scaling. So we're going to turn that off, and we're going to apply that if it's going to let us. So this is like the full, like it's not dropping from 1440p, and I think you can kind of see how that impacts to a degree the performance. Now keep in mind, obviously YouTube doesn't support the 120 FPS sort of thing yet at the current point in time, so it's not like you're really getting the full scale experience like I am on my console in regards to it, like going over the upper bounds of 120 FPS, but it is kind of hopefully giving you an idea of how it looks, and hopefully if there's any performance drops that are extreme, you can see how that looks over your experience. And that mouse clicking thing that pops up on the screen is really, really annoying. Alright, so let's go for the next option here, which is not the character customization. That's not what we're trying to do at all. Great, so we're going to not have the dynamic resolution scaling. We're going to switch to the high frame rate mode, which is 1080p. Well, we're switching to the 1080p mode, which gives you much closer to that high frame rate. So this is not dynamic resolution scaling, and you can immediately feel a great increase in fluidity, at least from my perspective, but you can definitely notice that there is a resolution drop. But you shouldn't really have to turn on dynamic resolution scaling for this mode. I mean, you can, but it's really, really not needed. So that's kind of how this one is looking. I'm glad it's still kind of daytime. This game be a little tricky to get footage because of the way the day kind of cycles and how you're locked to like eternal nights. It can get a little annoying to try to do videos on. Great. Now we're going to show off the 4K, and we're going to show off the full 4K. And you'll see how the picture quality is greatly increased and how that impacts the game. But you can actually tell that it's still running pretty decent. Like, this is something that can be demanding with like performance drops, especially if you are kind of playing this from the perspective of like regular gameplay, and then things are going on, there's lots of enemies, and then you've got like combat and particle effects and stuff, and I don't know what the state of this character is versus my other characters, so you're kind of just, you're stuck with whatever we have here on my account that was just on the PlayStation. I'm just like, we're just here to show this off and talk about it because I thought, hey, Final Fantasy XIV, a lot of people super into this game. I've had some videos do really well on it over the years? Yeah, years, I guess, actually. And this seemed like the perfect time to kind of take a look at it. So I would say this mode, actually, with the full 4K, doesn't look too bad, but I am noticing a little Performance is a little harder core on this one. It's not as smooth and fluid, but I think you can kind of get away with doing this. I would probably actually really recommend doing the 4K with the dynamic resolution scaling. And I think you can kind of get away with that, especially on the PS5 Pro, and actually get something that is relatively smooth, should be most of the time, and still looks really, really good, quality-wise. So again, it's really down to how you want to play it. Do you absolutely need a smoother experience? And again, everything is uncapped, unless you literally choose to cap it. Do you want that super smooth frame rate, or do you want a bit of picture? Do you want a bit of balance between them? The choice is entirely up to you and how you want to play Final Fantasy XIV online, which is exciting. And it's a free-to-play game. A lot of the game is actually quite available to you if you choose to, you know, go in and jump and play it at any point, which is awesome. You can use the console keyboard and mouse, which is nice. And they give you a lot of content, and there's a lot to see, and a lot of really cool activities and events. And this is a very long-running, long-lasting MMORPG experience. So it has had a wide range of updates and long-term support to it, and they are continuously adding like new expansions and new ways to play it. So it is kind of, you know, never a bad time to jump in and see what Final Fantasy XIV has to offer for you, because it is an experience that I think really is going to be around for the long haul. And you make your character and you just kind of enjoy an expansive, exciting world that you get to fight all these different things in and see all this stuff. There's big city areas, there's all these different area sections you can go to. If you haven't seen it, I've got this really great stream for the Xbox version where I do like a crazy date thing for hours. It's utterly ridiculous and hilarious. I always like to promo that one because I genuinely think it's one of the funniest kind of video things I have going. And that's kind of why I mentioned that. So I don't know if I have that on this account or not, or how the progression kind of works or is split, or if I have it on different accounts, because there was a whole thing about like beta stuff for Xbox and you had different accounts for things, and it was a whole annoying process, and everything's a little murky, and I don't play enough of this to really like care that much. It's mostly to come in and be like, hey, here's how it's running and stuff like that. I do think with the benefit of everything kind of being like uncapped for this experience, and then, you know, basically having a dynamic resolution scaling or full resolution, this is a game that is a perfect sort of long-term example too. Like, I'm assuming it'll be around then, but like the PS6 down the road, coming and taking a look at that, it should be running even better, and who knows, they may do some kind of more advanced update to the game as well, because we do have, you know, like PISR technology, and Final Fantasy XIV, with it being something that does keep getting updated and made available on the platform, I don't think it's too out of the question to see them kind of do a push towards being like, hey, we're going to do another update to make it run a little bit better and have a little bit more going on to it. I really don't think that is necessarily too crazy of a thing to expect for this kind of game. But yeah, I think this looks really, really clean. I mean, I wish I was kind of playing at during the day would be great, but nighttime, it's not too dark out at the moment either, so that's good. We're kind of hitting it at just the right time where the sun was kind of setting, and it's not like just night, so it's not just night all the time. Because I've had to do that where I go and I do my videos, and I'm just sitting there waiting, like, literally, until, like, you know, the daytime comes to do my video, and it's just like, oh, it could be agonizing, because it is actually, like, a lengthy night day cycle. So there's other things you can change too within the game. So aside from resolution scaling, you can also do model details, and you can do like physics stuff, and you can do like water refraction. So like this type of stuff will do minor changes to the quality of the experience. If you're absolutely crazy, you can limit it to 30 FPS. I don't know why you ever would, but you can. And then you can change like the UI interface, how like tight it is, up to you. And like they do give you really great settings for this game that I'm very appreciative of. And that allows you to kind of jump in and play this kind of the way you want. And I think it's really cool that this sort of thing exists for a console, because, you know, traditionally you just get like one setting and it wouldn't really look great. But not anymore. We're finally getting stuff that really does look absolutely fantastic. And I think they've done a really good job with this version of the game. I love that they did this update here. Can I not buy a Chocobo? I can't even rent one? Usually you're allowed to rent them and take them like for a walk or something. So this must not be my higher level that I have on the Xbox side of things. Oh, well that's kind of annoying. Yeah, actually for it being nighttime, I remember it being a lot darker out here, but this is actually kind of nice. Shows you a little bit of the day, a little bit of the night. Shows you the combat, but yeah, I think in general though, you will likely be pretty happy with the improvement and overhead we get with the PS5 Pro. If you are like a dedicated player to this, it should help a lot with allowing you to have that higher resolution, hitting that frame rate target a lot more, and something that's being smooth. Because I think in general, from what I'm seeing, even doing kind of the full 4K, it does seem to relatively keep things going pretty smooth. Like, it is not dropping like it used to as much, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Like, in general, this game, it's pretty good depending on how you, like, jump at it, and gives you all those different visual modes. It's mainly, like, how hardcore you are. Like, if you get into those crazy endgame situations and those tougher battle things, maybe you need every last frame, you want to make sure it looks as smooth as you can. Obviously, 1440p is a nice middle ground, and if you really need it too, that 1080p mode exists, and that can take you a lot further if that is something of interest to you. See, I want to show off more of the game. I want to do some quests, but I think I'm going to try to get over to the region to the left over there and kind of present that kind of area as well. I just wish there was maybe like hop servers or something and get different times a day, or just I mostly wish the night wasn't so long. They're very, very long nights in this, and yeah, it can be a little much to deal with. But the world of Final Fantasy XIV is a lot of fun, and it's got a beautiful aesthetic and style. And I do like the night sky in this game. I think it's kind of lovely. And when you're doing combat, it's very flashy. It is pretty much your typical MMORPG though, right? Like, you go and you do quests, and like a lot of the game is kind of like the costume element of it. I've seen some pretty stylistic costumes and everything along the across the board for this one. They definitely, people have a lot of decorative elements to what they do, and there are lots of quests, and there's lots of different things you can get. When I did my weird Final Fantasy XIV date thing or whatever, there was all these vehicles and things. It was a little ridiculous. I really wish that cursor would stop popping up on my screen like that. It's very, very bizarre. Yeah, it's very, very bizarre. A desert, whatever this thing is. Pieste? I'm confident that I can fight this thing. So you do get a wide range of creatures. It's got all the signatures of Final Fantasy. I think they just did a big expansion, like maybe it was even like several months ago at this point, I guess. Time flies, right? Because I covered this coming to Xbox for the first time, which was a pretty big deal for Xbox players. Not for PlayStation, because this has been on PlayStation forever, but it was a pretty big deal getting this on the Xbox side of things, for sure. We're like, oh yeah. And then they did like the 120 Hz update, and you're like, oh, okay, well that's a bit of a surprise too. But it was cool to cover that, and you can see like performance tanking a little bit here. But no, it was just kind of really cool to see this game arrive on the platform, because it was something that had been very locked away from Xbox for a very, very long time. And then obviously PlayStation, you just get to keep enjoying this experience, which is great. And then you've got the PS5 Pro taking it a little bit further. I need the map. This is the mines. Oh, the Sunset Gate is over there? Where am I trying to go to? Central Thrall? So I'm over here. Oh, I wanted to go to, I think, Central Thrall, if I'm not mistaken. Silent Crossing. Okay, well, this is not where I wanted to go. I don't yearn for the mines. I'm sure other people do, but I do not yearn for the mines in the slightest. And despite being nighttime, they do a good job of illuminating your character. I would just much rather have the sun out and about, because it just makes it look a little bit better for people checking it out. But we are here for more for performance, and I guess showing the day and the night is a good thing. How dare you? I do like how flashy the combat gets. Like, obviously my character is not high-leveled, so it doesn't really look as cool, but it can be pretty sweet. I've seen some people do some crazy moves and stuff. You know, I was riding in like a car thing and stuff, and there was like a dragon thing we were riding. There was like mounts and stuff. But, you know, it's a full social MMORPG. Like, there's all kinds of zany interactions you can have with people, which is exciting. You know, coming from Hogwarts Legacy, that is definitely a lackluster city. I'm gonna throw it out there. Yeah. Oh, was this the way I wanted to go? Yeah, this was the way I wanted to go. I wanted to show off this other area. Like, obviously there's that section over there, and then there's kind of, this is like another kind of starter region area that you can visit too, and the whole game, it's, you know, it's the MMORPGs. You go from section to section to section, these different hub worlds, and you, oh wow, look at the galaxy going on there. Fight all these creatures, you level up, then you fight new creatures, and you do more stuff, and there's endgame content, and, you know, big expansion content stuff. It's a never-ending thrill ride that you know, I'm assuming the players that play Final Fantasy XIV are pretty well invested in it, which makes a lot of sense to me. Like, you probably spend a lot of time playing this world and get lost in it, and I get that. Like, there's a lot. It's actually daunting how much there is to this. It really is. Like, they've added a ridiculous amount of things. And I'll never experience all that, because I mostly come in here and do, like, side videos, and the one time I stream it, I go on this ridiculous quest adventure and not actually get serious about proving myself and leveling or anything, which is hilarious. Basically, I wish I had the time commitment available to play these, you know, these types of games to their fullest, because I do feel like I miss out on so much. Oh, look at the glow of the crystal there. That's fantastic. Yeah, this is nice. You know, like, honestly, the tavern. I think you can come up here and, how did this work? Face wear, fashion, do I have fashion accessories? Command is unavailable. I thought I had, like, options. Isn't there, like, dance stuff? Emotes. Oh, here we go. I got this. So we can come up here, we can do emotes, and we can dance. They don't really seem like they're super into, what I'm doing here. These patrons, they do not care. I am surprised that they do not care about my surprise. And then, of course, you can play in first person too, clicking in the right stick. Oh, that's kind of nice. If you want to have an immersive first person experience, which I would say is kind of fine for traveling, but, like, honestly, it's pretty weird fighting in this game in first person. Like, it's downright bizarre to do that. But, yeah, I mean, having the higher resolution and frame rate and stuff, especially in first person, is kind of nice. Invalid target? That's what I'm saying, like, first person in this game is not the greatest when you're fighting things. See? Super awkward. But anyways, hopefully this helps you with your Final Fantasy 14 Dreams and showed it off well.